wanted me to tell you hello when I was with you, so like, here we are.
I'm so glad to hear it. He's my, so he and I used to hang out together and used to like do stuff for this podcast.
Okay.
He was my photographer at one point.
Oh, nice.
So go ahead and, I got you water just in case, but if you feel like you brought your own water, use it as your discretion.
I always, just try to stay hydrated out here.
Yeah, same here. I got mine over here.
Okay. Are you recording or?
So we're live right now. So
okay.
What we'll see, you'll see a couple of comments maybe come in through. Like, don't let it distract. Don't worry.
Okay.
These guys are fine. These are harmless people.
No, you're
it's a
fine.
nice little chat room, and you can broadcast it yourself too if you want to tell people you're live with Finding Easy. We're on Facebook and YouTube right now.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. The link is on our Facebook page and our YouTube page.
Okay.
So if they want to just.
I need to start like dabbling more with YouTube.
No problem.
Like,
this is your injection into that whole world. There you go. Let me hit record. Well, first off, I'll show you how I start everything. I always ask someone if there's anything that you want to keep off the wraps. Clearly, it's already going, but I already knew you were kind of like an open book.
Oh yeah, no, ask away. Go for it.
And then, just feel comfortable. We're just going to have some fun. We're going to get to know you a little bit. Yeah. And then you already know the direction of this is direct your voice as clearly into the microphone as you can. And I will hit start. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching us here on the live stream. We're going to get started in just a moment here. And as I fix the table just a little bit, and then I'll hit the record button here. And we'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody, to the Finding Arizona podcast. I'm your host, Jose. As always, we bring in very special guests every week, and today's no different. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let this goddess introduce herself because that is the name of her Instagram page. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Jose. Hi, my name is Elisa Valdez. I am the owner and founder of Goddess Rising. That is GODDUS. RISING, kind of give you guys a little twist on the name there. So
yes.
How to spell it out. So thank you so much for having me, a part of the show.
Absolutely, and I'm very much excited to have you. There's a lot of things I want to get into, just because I've watched your Instagram from when you started to connect with us. So there's a lot of overlap with what we do as far as podcasters. But I'm also interested from your photography because we've had a lot of photographers in. And then on top of that, there's some other things like body positivity and some astrology things we'll get into. Yeah. So I'm very excited to kind of goody unfold a lot of things. So I'll ask you the same question I've asked everyone who's come through our door so far. The pandemic has hit us all in a different way.
Yeah.
And I just want to know, how are you doing? How's your family doing? How has been processing this and taking it all in? Like, how has that been going?
You know, in the beginning of the pandemic, it was probably the most hardship I had ever undergone so far in my life span. I went through unemployment for the first time. I went through terrible breakup. So to go through like quarantine, like in a heartbreak, and then like quarantine by yourself because I don't have a roommate or anything. It's just me.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was very, very lonely, but it was also so good because it was that time to like new moons, for example.
Yes.
Like we're going through one right now. Like new moons represent like a lot of shadows and dark and like, you know, being within the blackness. Yeah. But like when you're able to allow yourself to get into that space and that mind, that's where dreams, that's where creativity arises from, when you allow yourself to like really digest into the shadows of just being by yourself and like into your own space. So yeah, I had a really interesting shift throughout COVID and the pandemic. I went from like unemployment to having like my first month making like 10K. Like it was just, it was like a 180, and I really just dived in of like, what is it that I want out of my life? Yeah. And how are we gonna get there type of thing. So, unfortunately lost some family during COVID and that was hard. Sorry. It's okay, thank you. But it was like, sometimes we have to go through the cycle of just life of like death and rebirth, and it's just a constant cycle, and we fall into that ebbs and flows. So here we are.
Yes, and now we're in the present, and there's a lot of, you know, things that I want to touch upon, because you just divulged a lot to us. And it's just that one question. First off, I just want to I want to give my condolences to you and your family, because I too have lost a couple of people from my own family during this time, and so it's just like it's tough to make, not only even if they did pass from COVID or if they didn't, just to make the hard decisions after their passing to be around family or go to the ceremonies or whatever services there are, and so I can understand your predicament and where you are at that mindset. So I can empathize a little bit. The other thing I want to kind of get into is just the kind of success, the 10K that you brought up in your first month, and just overall, and we'll touch upon that. But I will ask you the secondary question that we used to ask. Give us a little bit of your origin story, and how you came to not only the podcast, but your photography, and how that all wrapped up into your life.
Yeah, so I've been doing photography for years. My dad taught it.
Oh.
He taught film.
Okay.
He was a science teacher, but during summer school, he was like, I want to do something fun.
Yeah.
What's more fun than film and being
Absolutely.
in a dark room? So that's how I really kind of started. Again, just playing like light exposure and timing. That was like the fundamentals. That's the fundamentals of photography. So that's how I started. And then in college, I was like, I'm gonna buy like my first DSLR, and it was a Rebel T3. It wasn't even a T3i, like it was a Rebel.
Wow.
And I was so excited, like, okay, and I remember I promised myself, I'm like, okay, start here, and if you continue to do it as a hobby, then keep investing.
Gotcha, yeah.
And I kept like just dabbling and got excited and creative, and like all my girlfriends, all my roommates were just, I would just use them as models, and just needed a body and a face, and just like, hey, I need you. And then I finished college and I got into healthcare. I've done all different forms of healthcare, anything from insurance, medical insurance, to working at medical clinics. I've been a massage therapist for 10 years.
That was the other thing I wanted to mention, because you had also it was also part of your IG story that you were doing massage therapy. I was like, this girl works like a bunch of jobs. Like, it's kind of crazy.
I've always, like, if there's one thing I can give advice on, it's have so many multiple skills in life, because if something happens,
got another one to
you
fall
have
back.
something else to fall back on. So always just having like a plan A, B, C, and D. That's just how I was brought up. So I dabbled with healthcare for a long time. I was at one of the hospitals here locally for like 4 years almost. Banner Hospital downtown.
That one, yes.
Yep, right there. A little cray-cray over there, but it's abundance in its finest, mysterious ways. But I was there, and when I was working there, I worked in what's called case management. So a lot of like psychosocial, getting services for people, and it was very eye-opening. And the biggest blessing, really connected me back to my faith, and just like walking away of like, hey, I got a bed to go to in the morning, like at home. Like some of these people don't. So it was really just humbling to work there. And while I was working there, I was trying to get into a nursing program. And I tried, and I kept trying, and I kept trying. And I'm like, when I was like going through this ebbs and flows, my photography started really picking up. And then it wasn't until one of my old medical directors I met up with, and I was like, you're out of healthcare, like you're running your own business now, and like you're teaching people how to cook with like plant-based, and like it's totally more Eastern meds than Western. And she looked at me and she goes, I don't think nursing's for you. She's like, not that you're not a healer at heart. She's like, I think what you're doing for women and changing their body connection and sexuality is way more of a bigger impact than you would have in nursing.
So interesting that she kind of pulled that out of the air like that.
And I left that meeting with her, and I sat in my car, and I just cried. And I was like, but I wanted to be a nurse. Like, I wanted to be a nurse. And then the business started to grow, and then I was like, okay. I went to this conference, the influencer conference, in San Diego, and they were like, in 90 days, what are you gonna do? I was like, 90 days. I'm gonna revamp my website. I'm gonna get my LLC. I'm gonna make this a thing. And 2020, I was like, okay, like I'm gonna get this all online before 2020, and I did. I was like, awesome, jump ship. And then I was in Bali for photography.
Yeah.
Abundance, a huge opportunity. Came back, and COVID hit. And I was like, I should probably get a job. I just had this really weird feeling. I was like, I feel like things are going to really turn.
You felt the rumblings.
I felt the rumblings, and I got a job, and it was for a company called 3M.
Oh.
They make all the N95.
Just a little company called 3M.
Yeah. But then my hiring process got like pushed back.
Yeah. With
like everything with COVID and it's just like my drug test took the longest because now labs were getting slammed with COVID tests and like, things like that. So I was like, oh my gosh. And then that was when I really went through this breakup, and my nephew had gotten diagnosed with cancer again. So I was going through this shift, and I was like, well, what do I want out of my life? And again, being in the darkest of shadows, that was when I kind of started nitpicking of what I wanted. And I was like, my business, I was like, we're just going to stay at 3M for a little bit and then just save up money, cash money flow, build capital, and boom. Like, all of a sudden, COVID kind of chilled out here in Arizona, and everybody was, like, going through their own shadows. Like, all the women that I was predominantly working with were going through divorces.
That's weird.
It was very weird. But then I was like, wow, you're badass for, like, taking such a tragedy, like, experience and transforming it to a body celebration.
Yeah.
And, like, owning your, like, feminine divinity and your sexuality and your sensuality.
Nice.
And then I started getting regulars. I started seeing women, like, at the beginning of their divorce, and then now they're like, yeah, I'm ready to, like, not even date, but just, like, to get out there again. I'm like, yeah. And it's just crazy.
I can imagine your thought process through the whole thing, especially someone like yourself who's so in touch or in tune with what you know, the perspective of, like, astrology, with all these different aspects of your life. You're taking all of these in, and you're kind of formatting. For me and my wife, I'm the same way. I'm a Libra as well. I just kind of, like, take the universe and kind of let it flow, like, let it just kind of, for our relationship too, it's like a lot of what we went through, you know, living together, deciding on, you know, marriage, deciding on kids, and all of these things. I just kind of listened to what the universe was telling me, sort of thing, where I tell this story a lot. It's like when our leases were up at the same time, that kind of was like, I was listening to the universe, like, okay, maybe I should, you know, we're starting to get more serious. Maybe I should live with this girl or live with this, you know, my significant other. And then it turned into, oh wow, I can't imagine not having her a part of my life. I have to marry this woman. And then it became, it's like, are we ready for kids? Like, are we ready to have a child and it being a part of our lives? And so that happened. And like all of these things, I kind of just let the universe let it be and listen to it, and kind of it told me what was the right answer. So the way that you approached it was kind of similar, and I kind of wanted to divulge that just because it's like you listen, and that's kind of like what I like, is I like when podcasters listen a little bit more. It means a lot to me too, because you're taking it in and you're really wanting to do something with it. Yeah. And one of the other things that you had brought up too is just kind of like you're now going into a lot more categories of like, you know, you're teaching, you're doing the class course, you're doing, you know, your medical, you're doing all of these pieces. Which one of these is most suited to you, or which one do you kind of find your most fun in?
I would say I really do like teaching, and I think that's because like I come from a founder of teachers. My dad was an educator for 40 years. Yeah. So things of like that, like I love the educational part of it. Photography is like that's the bread, the money, the soulful fire that just keeps me like thriving. But I've been having a good time with the educational portion of it. Yeah. But also tapping into like creating it to my brand. So like teaching women how to overcome insecurities with their bodies, those pre-attachments that have followed us through when we were adolescent and upbringings and to, you know, middle ages, and now that we're in our 20s and 30s and however age. Yeah. And how we metamorphic into many different castings, and I'm really enjoying that too. Yeah, blending the two together. Blending it. So I try to take a a lot of time when I do my sessions now to get to know like my clients, like what brought you here, what are you going through, what is it that made you want to do this today, because and thank you for wanting to do this with me, because it's so honorable.
Yeah, absolutely. And just kind of having those intimate moments with your clients as well is just another step that you're adding to your clientele. I wanted to ask you too, because you had like started out doing other photography, like maternity shoots and other these things. And one of the things that I have kind of learned from having other photographers come through our doors is photography, in a sense, is a way for you to kind of play around in the playground. Sort of, you start off that way, and you don't know where your style is or where your focus is. And one of the cool things that I've always found interesting about photography or photographers is them getting to choose and really kind of practice and hone in on what their focus is. Where yours is like body positivity. We just had someone come in that's just baby photographer. And so like, what in your life made you go down this route? Or I guess what made you start to realize the body positivity stuff into the photography stuff?
So I started off with a lot of fashion, which is fun because you can get as funky, as wild, as colorful and vibrant that you want with it. But then I was like, we ended up just being like human coat hangers. And we start representing a brand, which there's nothing wrong with helping another, stylist and things like that, but you're starting to represent a brand, not yourself. So then I was like, oh my gosh, nudes. I love the naked body. I'm such an anatomy geek, and I was in healthcare for so long. I've seen so many different bodies. It's just, and every time it was honorable. And I was like, ooh, I love this. Like, I'm only shooting nudes. That's it. But then I was like, not everyone's ready to just strip down and go bare. So then I was like, well, boudoir. It's still fashion, and you can be sexy and lace and leather, or still have that dress up and character-like, but still be very intimate and close with the body itself. So that's when I kind of transitioning to boudoir, and then I was like going through my own personal things in my life as just a female, and just tapping into our own sexuality and being embracive of like, hey, just because I decide to dress up in a bustier doesn't mean that I'm any less professional than I am working a 9-to-5 or anything like that. So then I was like, oh no, like women need this.
That's awesome.
Yes. So that's kind of how it started, and then
it just kind of just picked up like a snowball.
It picked up, and I had one specific client who was like, and I was thinking about a name. I was like, what am I gonna name my business? She goes, you're all about tapping into your goddess. And I was like, yeah, but like goddess is so, like everyone uses goddess. And then I was thinking, I was driving, I'm like, okay, how can I like, what else can I start playing with like syllables and trying to make things sound like what they are? And I'm like, oh my God, God, us. Like us goddesses, we rise together. And I was like, that's it. That's the movement.
Nailed it.
Make it an LLC. And then it started being available. It was available on Instagram. It was available as an LLC. It was available as a .com.
Nice.
And I was like, that's not very often.
Often, yes.
Right. So I was like, it's meant. Go for it.
Yeah.
And I just jumped on it.
You listening to the surroundings and everything around you. I mean, that when everything aligns like that, it's just hard not to like jump full feet into it. Like, you know what I mean? What about the podcast? Like, why? Because here's my thing. When you're so good at being behind the camera and being the person that's invisible, and now to kind of slowly start to use your voice and start to create more content with this other revenue avenue, so to speak, why choose that route, or why do it?
So a couple things. I had been featured on a couple podcasts, and it really did help me find my own voice as an entrepreneur. And then I was like, well, I want to help other female entrepreneurs and other business owners find their own voice. But then I am this woo-woo goddess, and I chase the moon, and I do meditation, that I was like, I should start teaching about this. It's all written, a lot of my captions and my posts, but I'm like, what if I start being a part of other people's routines when it comes with the new moons or the full moons, or maybe they want to get into it, but they don't know where to start or what is Mercury retrograde, you know? So I'm like, let's just start. And I bought a $20 mic off of Amazon.
Nice.
And I'm like, just start it. That's it. I'm all about, like, I'm this little Puerto Rican mamacita over here. And I'm like, hola, mommy. Like,
nice.
Welcome, hello to all the mommies. Like, come on in.
Yeah.
And I welcome you with open arms.
Oh,
so,
awesome.
Yeah.
And so now you have, let's just kind of lay it out there. You have photography, you have your massage therapy, you have also your, what else? You have classes that you're doing. You're also a speaker. I imagine there's the podcast that takes a lot of time too. It's like, I want to, because this gets me into how entrepreneurs, break up their time and get into their daily routines. Are there any routines that you do to kind of keep your head afloat, or are there anything that you like to keep in the mix of your life?
Boxing.
I saw that. I saw a little bit of your IG. Yeah, saw the stories.
Boxing. Yeah, boxing. I started in COVID, which I wasn't too fond of with the gym because they never closed during COVID.
Gotcha.
But then I was like, well, how hypocritical of me. I'm over here going through such a mental shift and really downpouring.
Yeah.
But I was like, I need exercise.
Gotcha.
And so I joined, and I had never done boxing. I'm not even 100 pounds, and I'm like, everyone's like, growing up, like, oh, flaca, in Spanish, like, you skinny thing. And I'm like, no, like, I know I'm powerful. I need to just tap into that. And I kid you not, I think that, like, a lot of women ask, like, why are you so feminine? And I'm like, I tap into my masculine energy a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, boxing is fight or flight, it's responsive, it's assertive, it's that competitiveness.
Yep.
I don't like to be competitive with other women, so, like, then it's like, throw me in the ring and, like, let's get at it. Yeah. So I get that portion out. And that has just helped my physical body, my physiological, emotional, spiritual. It's just been my therapy. Like, it's truly therapeutic.
I can imagine too, there's also, a big chunk is mental. Like, you have to be smart when you're attacking and defending and things like that.
Yeah.
When you're in the pocket. Like, I saw your form, I saw a couple of the clips. It looks good. You look like you know what you're doing. I would be afraid to, put my fists up against
Cross
it.
me.
Yeah, exactly. That would be not a good idea. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, that ability to be able to recognize that there's something missing, or that there's something else that you need to balance out. And I think that that's something that you do well. And I think just being able to recognize that and say, hey, I have to tap into somewhere else. And so why boxing though? Why choose that revenue?
I started doing the personal training during COVID, and then there was one specific boxer who introduced me. He came up to me and he's like, hey, I've been following you for a long time. He's like, come in for a free class, on me. Yeah. And I felt like as soon as I put the wraps on and the gloves, and he taught me how to jab cross, I was like, count me in.
Nice.
And it's been so therapeutic.
I love it.
I'm big into boxing. I'm also a huge into yoga. Yeah. I've done yoga for many, many years, and that's just something I think we all need to be able to. It's good to be aggressive, but then we also have to digest and retreat. So yoga is a nice balance with that.
You're a person that finds that center. Like, you really
are
trying to find that.
I try. I think we're all trying to find that equilibrium and just that homeostasis level of just balance.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. Now I'm going to backtrack a little bit to the routines. You brought in boxing. Is there anything else? Do you do tarot cards in the morning or anything like that?
I kind of started dabbling with the tarots. I burn sage every morning.
Okay, there you go. That's
what
I'm talking about.
Clean the air from anything that's left over from yesterday. Just
gotcha.
Get out that stagnant energy. But no, I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm fire throughout. I'm a double Sagittarius Leo.
Oh, nice.
So I'm always so amped. So I'm trying personally to be way more organized, and with entrepreneurship, I think you are always I have to do this. I have to do. Oh, but what about that email? I have to get back that tonight. So now I'm okay, you need to have more of a schedule versus this free flowing wanderous child that I am. No, sit down.
Schedule.
Yes.
Be precise about it. That sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there do you use anything to kind of do is there any app that you use to kind of keep your schedule?
I'm so old school. I have a written calendar.
You have a planner?
Yes.
That's okay.
My best friend makes fun of me because she's like, how long is it going to take you to like pick out a planner? Because sometimes we're at Target, you know, and it's before the new year, and I'm like, you don't understand. Like this makes or breaks your year. Like you have to really resonate with that planner.
That's when you know it's a good friend, that she can recognize that little tidbit about your life, and you're like, hone in on that. You know, how long is it going to take you?
She's actually a Libra, so when you said that, I was like, oh, we're gonna vibe. We're
yes,
good.
Exactly. Awesome. Yeah, I'm just like so amped to like, because there's so many things that you're an entrepreneur who's just starting, and I get amped when I see entrepreneurs who are just thriving really well, or just starting to open up and really start to get into their, like you said, homeostasis, their center. And I think you're finding that skill, or you really have honed in on it, and you're really vibing on a different level right now, because coming up you have a already sold out event photography shoot that you're putting together. Are you putting it together, or can you explain that shoot?
Yeah, so the Salt River and Nature boudoir workshop. So it's only 5 people. I try to keep it like really tight-based and intimate, just also with what's going on in the world. Just respect everyone's space.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm big into like nature boudoir, and everyone's like, how do you do it? I'm like, well, okay, you can't be oblivious. Like someone's bound to see you, but like how I say, I'm like, you are blessing their day. Okay, they got to see a beautiful naked woman like for free.
Yes,
we're good. So yeah, it's just kind of like, I feel like I've met a lot of photographers, and they just get stuck into like the studio space and the light and this and that, and they like to do the same thing, and and I get it helps when you have like a clientele, so it's when it comes to editing and things like that, and people go to you because you have that look. But I'm like, well, you also don't know what other looks you have unless you tap into it. And one of them is like, I love the desert, I love the water, like to be naked in the water is beautiful, and like all of that, I just feel like that is our most natural form, is just being outside and grounded. So yeah, I'm sold out. I'm super happy. I'm super excited. I get excited when I have males come on, because I'm like, oh yeah, like you want to try boudoir, like that's awesome. You guys have it way harder than we do, because you have to be like so much more conscious of what you say and how you act and things like that. So I like to kind of see what they struggle with, and like how can I implement my ways. So
that's really good that you're bringing these new opportunities, because it's like you said, it's not every day that you get to do this kind of stuff, and it's not not a lot of people are teaching this on this kind of like group setting and things like that, and it just helps to have these opportunities for, like you said, people who are wanting to try something new, or people who are still learning who they are stylistically and all these different, because I mean, if you're new to it and you don't know what you're doing, so it's like, how do I go outside and take these photos? Like I don't know the first thing on what I'm doing, so it's like nice to have, like in a group setting too. It's like you have another photographer, it's like, hey, check this out, like look what I caught. Like,
and that's how you learn too, though. Is by
collaborate.
Peers and relationships and things like that. So
what has been your biggest learning opportunity or challenge through this whole, not only podcasting but photography, putting together these events? What has been kind of the overall biggest challenge for you?
Being more automated. So like when you were asked, like, do you have any apps that you use for your calendar? And I have Honeybook, so that's where I get my inquiries from and things like that. But like, do I really know how to utilize the software from like
A to B?
No. So things like that has been my hardest thing, is because and I noticed, like, I started using, like, Eventbrite. Which, granted, it sucks that, like, they charge, like, a service fee, but then again, it's like, I had someone the other night purchase a ticket at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
I'm like, what are you doing at 2 a.m.? But, like, I'm not going to be at your knees and, like, availability to contact. Like, I can't always be the point of contact.
For sure.
Although I'm always open, my doors are always open, and my DMs and emails to answer questions, but I need to be like, if people want this, they have to just do it at their convenience as well. So just being way more automated has been very hard for me, and just like learning how to have more systems.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. Because when you grow, it's my old method still gonna work with if I had 15 more new clients, and it's not. It's like, okay, you gotta change your ways here.
Again, you are finding that balance, and it's good that you're challenging yourself like this too, with the Honeybook and all that stuff. I always say it's like, for all of this, like what I've been able to do, and whether it's like producing, podcasting, whatever it may be, I had to start somewhere. Like I didn't know any of this. Like I didn't know zero.
And now you got a whole setup.
I have a whole setup.
Oh my goodness, this is like
nice.
legit here.
Yeah, thank you. But it's like, again, it's like we all start from somewhere, and I'm always happy. Like we've started doing, like, we want to do a class one-on-one on doing podcasting, things like that. We'll start doing that, and that's going to be fun for me. Again, it's like, for me, this has always been a passion of mine, and I get my therapy through these kinds of conversations. I really do enjoy meeting people like yourself who are passionate about what they do. And so, yeah, it's like when I saw your stuff and I was like, oh, cool, she's like really on understanding and opening up with individuals, and that's really great. Is there something in the future that you're kind of like, because this is the part where I start to like break down, like, you've obviously opened up about your past and your present. Let's talk about your future. Is there anything you're excited for? Is there anything that you're trying to strive to get to?
Yeah, so, it's a good question, because I told myself in the beginning of this year, or right at the end of 2020, I was like, okay, I'm going to try this whole entrepreneurship for a year. So in November, I quit 3M. I was like working like 85 hours between them and then like Goddess Rising. I was like, I am going to lose it here if I don't make a change.
Yeah.
And I was like, why am I fighting what my heart knows what I want?
Yeah.
And speak your truth. And I went to my manager and he's like, I already know what you're going to do. Like, you're going to go pursue your business. And I was like, nice. And it felt good because I was like, I didn't have to lie to you and say I'm, some whatever. And I spoke my truth. And he's like, hey, keep in contact. I might need a headshot. I'm like, dope. That's awesome.
There you go.
So now that we're halfway through the year, I'm now thinking like, okay, I've already made a decision. I'm going to keep doing this.
Yay.
So what is it going to look like the next couple of years? I would love to own my own studio. I think that's I was thinking about it. I was like, I could have done it this year, but I took the investment and I bought myself a little townhome. So I was like, okay, we can hold off on the studio for this year, but like in the future, I would love to be able to write Goddess Rising on a door, and you come in and there's
Sit
a space.
Down.
There's a space. So that's one goal. I was still trying to figure it out. Like, I think my brand and my movement is so much more influential being in the community and working with individual women. Because I started thinking, like, should I start trying to apply to agencies? Should I start applying for magazines? And I'm like, is that where the money is at, quote unquote? But then I'm like,
it doesn't fill your cup.
It doesn't fill my cup and it doesn't resonate. And I'm like, no, I think I'm going to just keep doing what I'm doing. Sure. But if anything, I would love to see me be way more of a coach.
Nice.
And start hosting like retreats where we go and do meditations and I guide you through yoga and this and that.
Beautiful. And
then we celebrate by taking photos at the end. So that's where I kind of see myself in the next couple years.
I have someone, because we've done 200 plus episodes of this. Like, I have a few people that I would love to give you contacts to, because
yes, I love referrals.
Yes. I don't know if you know her. Zenberg. Do you know Marion Mellon?
I don't think so.
Oh, you would love her. She's got that same energy you do.
Okay.
So you guys would get along together. The other thing too is like, is there anything goal-wise that past the brick and mortar, past the like kind of like physical parts, what lasting effect do you want to leave on this planet?
Dang, you couldn't have asked a deeper, darker question. I'm just kidding. I guess my nephew said this before he passed, and this is when I like came to terms with him leaving this earth. And he's like, I lived my life purpose, and I was like, what was that? And he's like, I brought so much happiness to people. He's like, so much happiness. He's like, what else could you ever want in life?
Exactly.
And I was like, okay, so I think like just to help bring a lot of happiness.
Yeah.
Just help women overcome any boundaries that they're having, any attachments that they're continuing to hold on to, whether that's physical attachments or mental attachments, or I've worked with a lot of domestic violence women, and I would have never thought that that's maybe a population or demographic that I could start gravitating to, but I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I think I could definitely. So I think it's just to bring a lot of love and just happiness to a lot of people, and I feel like I'm really on that path with my business. Like I really do feel like Goddess Rising is my purpose.
Good.
And I was telling my mom that I was like, Mom, I'm sorry I'm not a nurse. I'm sorry I didn't become the doctor. I'm a photographer. And she looked at me and she goes, and you know what? And she's like, and you're doing a damn good job at it.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's all you can ask
thanks,
for.
Bob.
Well, again, I do really appreciate you coming in. We're reaching the end here, and so like again, everything that I learned from you and just kind of like taking in this conversation, I have learned a lot, and I really do, like you said, I think bringing happiness, focusing on finding your balance, keeping that equilibrium going, I think you'll do just fine from there.
Oh, thank you. And Jose, thank you so much for having me onto the show.
Oh,
very honored. But creating this space for other entrepreneurs and other people to really find their voice, and I think that's just the power of podcasts is I'll leave here feeling like I'll start questioning what is it that I really want to do out of life, and like you start to dive, like you help people find their own process and their stories, and that's really in alignment. So thank you.
I really do appreciate that. It makes me feel like this is I'm doing good. I'm doing good things.
You're doing phenomenal. No, you were doing great.
Thank you. So before we go, we do ask everyone to let everyone know where they can find you online, your social media links, all that. Go right ahead and promote yourself.
So like I said earlier in this show, the best way to find me is over Instagram, but how you spell it, it's GODD, as in dog, DDUSRISING. And you can Google that into Google as well, and my website should pop up along with like my Facebook. Everything is Goddess Rising. Venmo, everything is Goddess Rising.
It should be easy to find you.
Yes.
And we will link everything as always per usual. We always try and make sure everyone can find you through our means and through our end as well. Before we go, ladies and gentlemen, you can hear every episode of Finding Arizona Podcast at findingarizonapodcast.com. All of our social media handles is, again, under Finding Arizona Podcast. So social media-wise, we're in Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you're watching us on the live stream, thank you very much for joining us. And I appreciate all of you always helping us. And last but not least, if you want to become a super fan, you can do so at patreon.com/findingarizonapodcast. There you'll sign up for one of the tiers. We say thank you in return, and you will get bonus content like our bonus podcast called Fine Examination. We're hoping that you'll join us for 50 questions that we're going to ask you.
Oh my God.
We're going to ask you rapid fire. It'll be fun. It's just things
I
that
love
you're
that.
into.
You just spit out the first thing that comes to mind.
Exactly.
Yes,
I love it.
Sign me up.
All right, cool. So we're going to be joining that next. Again, only available at patreon.com/findingarizonapodcast. And there we say goodnight to all of you listening. Good night to everyone joining us. And good night to you. Go ahead and say goodnight to everyone.
Thank you so much, you guys. Much love and abundance.
Oh, awesome. Kisses, hugs, and belly rubs. We will see you on the next episode. Bye, guys. Easy peasy.
That was good.
Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
All right. The questions are pretty easy. I have them right here. Woo! Do you need a break?
We're doing it?
Water?
We're doing it right now.
Yes, we're going to go right into it. We're still streaming. We're still going. Everyone's like... I just really enjoy doing this. This is a lot of fun for me, and you're just like you're in it. You're already having fun. So.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm thinking like I was gonna come back round two. No, we're gonna.
No, you're gonna try. We're doing this right now, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Fine Examination, Arizona's Finding Arizona's Furious Fine Examination of 50 questions, where we fill it with fun and alliteration, and with our guest of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome our guest of the week. I'm going to say
Elisa.
Elisa. I'm going to say it wrong 1,000 times before I get it right. Elisa of Goddess Rising.
There we go.
Yeah.
You got it.
Are you ready for question number 1?
Oh, okay.
Let's do it. What was the last thing you watched on Netflix?
Oh my goodness, what did I watch? What is it? The Firefly show?
Yeah.
Is it a series?
Yes, the Firefly from Fox?
No, it's a Netflix series. I think
I
it's called Firefly.
Funhouse? Or I don't know. Are you talking about Mosquito?
No, it's an actual kind of comedy drama.
Oh, I gotta look it up. I have to to look it up now because
goodness.
I'm gonna. It's gonna.
I'm not a big Netflixer.
It's okay. It's okay. Let's go to that. Do you have a current TV obsession that you watch?
No, I'm not a big TV person.
Everybody has their subject.
Right.
Trust me. We'll get into other subjects. Don't worry. Like the next question is, what's the last thing you read?
Oh, I'm currently reading the 5 Agreements.
Nice.
Yes,
That's
I read
good.
the 4 Agreements. Loved Transformative. Loved The Mastery of Love.
Nice.
He's just a great artist and writer.
I really do. I have. Britt has it. Britt has a slew of books that I've been wanting to read. Like she has similar like business acumen, business, personal growth, things like that I want to read. Plus, I want to read the Michelle Obama Becoming book.
There you go. Can never go wrong with Michelle.
That was my gift to her for Christmas. I was like, I want to read it after you. What is one book you would gift another person?
Mastery of Love.
Good answer. What is one book you plan on reading?
Plan on reading.
Yes.
I have the Motivation Manifesto. I think it's called by Brandon Burchard. I've only read a couple pages, but I would like to finish it.
Okay. iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Twitter or Instagram?
IG all the way.
Who should everyone be following besides yourself?
Ooh, I love Corn Prescott. He was really the nude photographer that really inspired me. Yeah.
Nice. I gotta take a look at that. And then, what is your favorite food?
Oh, everything.
Everything.
Pretty much like pizza and sushi and tacos.
Tacos.
Yes.
Which pizza led me into what is what do you love on your pizza? Like your toppings.
I'm so basic. I love extra cheese.
Oh, nice. Now, here's where it gets specific. Do you like a specific cheese or are you just straight on mozz?
Cheese, anything.
Okay.
Munster cheese, goat cheese.
Just more cheese. Add it all. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
How do you take your coffee?
Black.
What is your favorite band/artist?
Oh, man.
Going back to high school. Everyone goes back to high school. What are you listening to? You turn on the radio.
I think I'm going to go with Soul Rising. I listen to them almost. Soul Rising or not Tycho. I was going to say techno. Tycho.
Techno. Just techno in general. Just if you were to sing a duet with anyone, who would it be?
Probably one of my gay best friends, Zyro. He's a good karaoke boy to go with.
If you could master one instrument, what would it be?
Piano. I did play. I just stopped playing.
Oh, you just.
I hated practicing when I was a kid. It was like pulling teeth. But now I'm like, dang, that's a good trait to have.
It is a good trait to have. I mean,
skill.
Skill. For me, it would be just I would want to learn just to learn Christmas songs because I like Christmas, and so I love the idea of singing Christmas carols and not watching TV or something like that. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Best gift you've ever received?
It was a $500 tip that my client gave me, and she said, "Book your trip to Bali and go."
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. I cried.
That's a baller move right there.
Yeah.
Best gift you've ever given?
Best gift I ever given. A very sentimental card that I wrote that I poured my heart out on.
No.
Yeah, I know. Cheesy, corny. I'm all about the hopeless romantic.
Last country you visited?
Bali.
Nice. Okay.
Indonesia.
Yeah, Indonesia. What's one country you wish you could visit?
I really want to go. I've been to Mexico, but Tulum.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Okay. Very specific.
Yes, I'm ready to go there.
Nice. I was gonna say, is any particular reason why?
It's I know it's the up and coming Cancun, but for whatever reason right now I'm I need to go to this place. I don't know why, but.
What's your favorite color?
Yellow. Actually, your couch is my ideal yellow. Yes, mustard.
That's picked by the wife. And she made it look. I mean, when we saw this on Amazon, I was like,
"This is Amazon."
This is Amazon.
Oh snap! Okay.
I was like, "Is it gonna work? Is it not gonna work?"
I love it. She got taste. Okay.
Yeah, she did really well. You should see the living room. She did it up in the living room.
I love it.
If you let's see. Last country visited, favorite color. Oh, most used app on your phone.
Instagram.
Of course. Jogging or swimming? Neither.
That's hard because like I hate jogging, but like boxing, like I've learned to run because it's all breath.
Yeah.
I'll go with jogging.
Okay.
Dang, I can't believe I said that.
Best way to de-stress?
Oh, burn sage.
Good.
A lot of it.
Make the whole house smoky.
Yes. Hotbox it.
If you had one superpower, what would it be?
Oh man. Heal a lot of parts.
Oh, that's a good superpower. Yeah, of
So.
course.
I was like, dang, that's like really corny. I'm like, how am I gonna do that?
You're like, I don't know if you've ever seen Captain Planet. Like the different rings to help him come alive. Like there's one that's heart.
Okay.
So it's like heart. So it's like I always thought that was cool. I was like, that's a cool little like. There's earth, wind, like the elements, and then there's heart. There's like that fifth thing. So
yeah.
I say go for it. That's a superpower. What is the weirdest word in the English language?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard. The weirdest word.
You probably know something like. Just how about the most disgusting word to you? Something that grosses you out when you say it.
I don't know, to be quite honest.
So popular answers is moist.
Really?
Yes, the most popular answer is moist. The other one that we get is, I mean, some people try to be funny. It's like onomatopoeia, like think of like large words.
Okay, it's not like the most appropriate thing though.
It's okay. Go for it. Do
like
you?
in Spanish, like toton, like females like vajay.
Ah.
I think it's like a slang in Spanish.
Yeah, it's a slang.
But my mom always says it. I'm like, ew, please don't refer to like the magical like wop as that. Like
the miracle of life comes from there.
Right, please. It's just such an ugly word. And I was like, do I say it? I was like, I don't know if that's like how
it's okay, you're fine.
TMI the show is.
It's okay. That is a word that, I mean, everyone has their own word. So it's like I always try and, everyone's different. So we're moving on, but that's good choice for a word. Good choice. I'm not bad mouthing you at all. Do you like your handwriting?
It's okay. It's not bad.
Okay. I love it. We went from dramatic, it's okay. It's okay. Do you bake or cook, and if so, your dish of choice?
Oh man, yeah. I'm not much of a baker, but I do cook occasionally.
Okay.
DoorDash has been like the worst thing to ever be invented, but I make some really good vegan tacos.
Nice. What do you make?
Like cauliflower tacos,
Okay.
or there's like this like protein powder.
Yep.
It's like a crumble,
Okay.
and you can marinate it in like chili, and
Nice.
it does.
The same thing. Nice. Have
Looks
you
like
tried
meat.
Impossible Burgers?
I haven't.
Okay.
I'm not big into burgers.
Okay, that's fine.
So then I'm like, well, am I
Why
gonna-
would I want to eat something that I don't ever eat?
But I'll eat like faux chicken and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Tofu. I wonder what your Thanksgiving's like. I'm moving it. Now, I'm getting too far off the track. This is what happens to me. The last person you sent a text to?
I think my best friend. I was like,
Beautiful.
I'm coming to do a podcast.
Nice.
I'll text you later.
Favorite smell?
Roses? No,
Good answer.
lemongrass.
Oh, good
Lemongrass.
answer. Very good answer. What's inspiring your life right now?
Life.
Beautiful. Good answer. These are all easy for you. What's your spirit animal?
Elephants.
Why elephant? I need to ask this.
I want to become an elephant so badly. Like I hope in my like next life I'm an elephant.
You must have been in heaven in Bali. Like you must have like I'm going straight for the elephant sanctuary.
I didn't. I was so bummed. I wanted to. I've
Aw.
always wanted to like live 6 months on like a elephant. They're so wise. They're so wise. I remember every single little tiny little detail.
Aww.
And they're so loving.
I love it. That's a good answer. Best thing to happen to you today?
Coming on to this podcast. Being
Aw,
here with you.
you're so nice. Don't stop it. Stop. What's on your nightstand?
What's on my nightstand?
Before you go to bed, what are the things
I
that you
have
touch on
this
your nightstand?
rose lip gloss that I love.
Nice.
I wake up and I feel moisturized.
There you go.
I think that's probably my iPhone charger, my lamp. That's
Okay.
about it.
Hey,
Yeah.
totally fine.
Yeah.
Very minimalist. I
Yeah.
like it. Good answer. Scary film or happy endings?
not into scary movies because I'm like such a chicken shit. Like I can't. I like cry over it all. Happy endings. I love Eat, Pray, Love.
Okay, so happy endings it
Going
is.
to Bali.
Spring and summer. You chose fall and winter.
No, it's like mustard and orange.
There you go. That's I should have
orange.
recognized that. Yeah. If you made one documentary, what would it be about?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Probably about like sexual taboos.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very direct. Straight into your wheelhouse there. 3 people, dead or alive, you would love to have dinner with.
Oh boy. Michelle Obama.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Yes.
I do like Jenna Kutcher a lot.
Okay.
She's a big podcaster, gold digger, the gold digger.
I've heard that name before.
Yeah. I always say gold, but it's goal.
Yep. 2, yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to think.
Dead or alive, you can choose.
Dead or alive, oh, there's just so much pressure. I don't know, maybe some people from the Beatles. Like, how was it living in that time of air and like start a revolution?
Pull Paul McCartney up to the table. And
there we go. Yeah.
I love it. Like the reason why I was like asking because I'm curious like why Michelle and the other girl
Jenna Kutcher. Yeah.
And then this random like third guy. It's really fun. But it's fine. It's really good stuff. I asked this question. Every person's so different on who they choose. It's really kind of interesting.
I never really thought of that. Now I'm gonna like go home and like what do I want to be?
Yeah, if you break down like I want to know what the breakdown for us. Like if I went back and like really like strategically like broke down who picked who based on like birthday or like something like like a third element of like if they were a Sagittarius or a Libra, like why they sweet or savory.
Sweet.
Window seat or aisle seat?
Oh, aisle.
Vintage or new?
Vintage.
Piece of advice, best piece of advice you've ever received?
Best piece of advice.
Mm-hmm.
When you allow yourself the available space, you will never know what opportunities actually really arise.
Where did you get that? And who taught you?
So my massage therapist taught me that when we actually used to work as therapists together.
Okay.
And when I was like, that time and available space. I mean, look at this. Like, it's a Wednesday afternoon and we are here doing a podcast. You know,
I love it. So. Your go-to place for a good laugh.
Like for a good laugh.
Mm-hmm. Could be like a comedy movie or comedy store. Like what makes you laugh? Where's the first place you go when you want to laugh?
Gosh, sometimes I just look at myself when I laugh.
There you go. There you go. Right in the mirror. Chuckle it up. Okay.
For this body and my mental state and my physical ability to walk and move.
Awesome.
Oh my gosh. Life with a goddess.
Nice. You already knew it. That was good.
I don't know.
Some people just don't.
Just came. I was like.
That one fits. Describe yourself. Hashtag she's spicy. Little chili pepper emoji.
Little chili pepper emoji.
Gotcha. If you could be a breakfast cereal, what would you be? Oh, this is the last question. Give us one.
Man, that went quick.
Yeah, it went quick.
That was 50 questions?
That was 50 questions. You nailed it.
Okay. Got you.
Okay.
Oh, I got you.
Okay.
I was a tap dancer for 7 years.
Holy cow.
Actually, probably longer than that.
Wow.
I still know how to shuffle ball change. And
nice.
Yep. Very talented with my feet.
So do you still have tapping shoes?
I don't.
If we had a pair of tapping
I would tap away happily right now.
Nice. Okay. Next time. We'll get you next time. You have to come back in
there
and
you
do
go.
a tap show.
Just do a tap show.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate it. This is separate audio, so go ahead and promote yourself again, where they can find you online, your business, all the businessy things.
All the goodies. Hi guys, thank you so much for tuning in to us today. You can best find me on Instagram at Goddess Rising. That is GODDUSRISING. Pretty much the same handle for Facebook, my website, but if you really want to kind of see me as a person as well, go ahead and follow me on Instagram or give my podcast listen to, and that's Hola Mami.
Awesome. And ladies and gentlemen, before we go, you can hear every episode of this podcast only exclusively on patreon.com/Fighting Arizona Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we hope that you come